Test, test. I'm going to put this stream on hold for about 15 minutes so people can join in. I'll put a little music on in the background. One moment. Alright, I don't know how the recording volume is compared to the background music. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let me know if this sound is good. And yes, I should create a starting soon image myself quickly. So today's live stream, let's just say let's stream for, of course, at least half an hour. Try to stay on topic when it comes to the Validator update. I did a long interview on this in the course of the weekend. I can imagine it's a bit long for most people. If you haven't checked it out, be sure to check out that video. I think I cover pretty much everything there is to know about the Validator update for the Helium network. But if you have specific questions or you don't have 1 hour and a half to watch the video, then now is the time to ask these questions. So technical, he asks, how much does it cost for HNT to buy in India? Technical, can you be a little bit more specific and let me know if you mean to buy the HNT token or to buy an HNT miner? So in general, right now you just have to buy the miner from one of the manufacturers. I think the prices on average are around $400 excluding taxes. So I don't know exactly what the taxes are in India. But in general, yeah, the prices are the same no matter where you live. Just buy it from one of the official websites. Keep in mind the delivery times are a bit long. When it comes to buying HNT, you can buy it on Binance if I'm not mistaken. And the price of the token, of course, it depends on the moment that you're buying. When it comes to using the network in India or anywhere else in the world, that's a good question. There's a little tab here on using the network. So you have a bunch of case studies here. For example, if we would be using 100 sensors in our company and they send an update, let's just assume that you're sending temperature information and the device sends it every 15 minutes. Then it would cost us 10 cents per day. So that's cheap. So everybody who's watching, if you got any questions on the Helium Validator network, this is the stream to do so. So right now we already have 1,600 validators, which means we have met the threshold. The minimum that we needed to launch this update was 100 validators. Or in other words, 1 million HNT. And we already surpassed 1,500 validators, which is insane. Seems like it was maybe not the best time to go online. Hi Christy, thanks for tuning in. So the expected results right now, we have this little graph on the main website. So initially, if we would have launched with 100 validators and we would have stayed at that, then we would have 360% APY, which is insane. Thanks for being honest. It's a long video, I know. So right now we have already 1,646 validators, which means we are already past the 10 million in HNT total staked. We're at 16 million. So assuming that this curve keeps going like this, I think we're still above 30%. The question, of course, is will we continue growing the amount of staking validators at the same rate? Because that's impressive. I don't think this will continue to accelerate, because at some point there is only so much HNT available and there's only so much that people are willing to lock up. It is of course interesting to see that so many people have locked up HNT, because this is an impressive amount. It's the least we can say, and that only in 1 week, 2 weeks. Oh yeah, really fast. So I think, yeah, this will of course continue to go down. There's a maximum amount of HNT per month, and 6% of that will go to the validators. So that is fixed. So if we say that we have 600 HNT per month and we have one validator, then good news, that one validator will get 600 HNT per month. If we have 100 validators, then each validator will get 6 HNT per month. So yeah, that's why this curve is flattening out, of course. So everybody, welcome in this live stream. Do not hesitate to post something in the chat, say where you're from. It's always nice to know where people are from. And if you already have a miner up and running, or if you already ordered a miner, it's always nice to have an idea of who's watching, who's on the fence, who's already active in the Helium community. Hey, Andre. Yeah, I think we have a lot of miners in London, right? Let's take a look at how crowded it is in the ecosystem. London. Take the coverage map. Poof. England is well represented. Ooh, Netherlands also right now. Poof. Still a lot of red ones though. A lot of red, a lot of green. I think you can do some good mining in the UK. Sneaky Sky Seagull. You mind if I look it up? Also, if anyone, I still have a few credits left for Hotspot RF, and since there's not too many people watching, I can do a few live calculations, because I think they were going to do an update so you can simulate multiple hotspots. So if, for example, like you have ordered 4, then we can just put 4 on the map and see what the expected returns are. That could be fun if nobody has any questions on validators. Hey Rahul, thanks for tuning in. Ooh, Canary Islands. That's nice. Cool. Romania. Yeah, 100 miners is a huge investment. And especially if the rewards go down, you're not certain on how long it will take to get them back. And again, setting up 100 miners, it will take some time unless you have 100 locations yourself. So you'll be dependent on other people, and they might take some time to reply. It'll take some time to get in touch with 100 people. So yeah, it will take a while before we have everything set up. And the question is, who has 100 miners available right away? I don't think any manufacturer can immediately send them out. Andre, you ordered from Syncrobit. What's the delivery time from those guys? Because I only ordered from directly, but they're not available anymore. Then Nebra, they finally arrived this week, so that's good. I still have to make a little video on it. I ordered those beginning of February, so it took a while to get here. Originally they were going to arrive in March, and then it got postponed, so now it's July. I finally got them. Well, Christy, if you want, I can log into my account and we can give it a try and see if we can simulate in a new space. Because I think the feature is in there. So we can give it a try. Alright, Andre, feel free to send me an email if you got the product, if it works really well or not. Then I'll try to reach out to those guys, because I have no contacts at Syncrobit. And I do want to try out every miner if I can. Why couldn't they send an invoice? That's strange. Because Syncrobit is a US company, right? Cool, thanks man. Hi Masuku, how are you? Yeah, could be. Strange. Because normally if they export it from the US to Europe, then they don't have to charge any taxes, so no idea what's going on. Let's see if we can take hotspot RF. Again, if anybody has joined the chat, feel free to introduce yourself. If you got any questions on validator nodes, now is the time to ask. Let's see if I can log into the hotspot RF. Website, and then we can see if the update has already been done. Am I logged in? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I'm logged in. Let's see if I can add a new window. Poof. This should do the trick. Ta-da! Hey, Mr. L. Okay, thanks, Andre. I'm from Belgium. So let's see if they already did the update. Is there a specific location somebody wants me to simulate? Again, I'm just playing around with this tool. Anyone who's watching, do not hesitate to ask any questions that you think of about Helium, Helium Validator, or anything else. Mr. L, how much have, if I may ask, how much have you, hey Benevix, Nederland represents. Yeah, okay, let's take a look at Bucharest. Let's just change this to Europe. Bucharest. Mr. L, how much did your earnings drop? So wow, Bucharest has already a lot of miners. Jesus. The whole city center is full. That's good. Light mode, dark mode. Map options. I was hoping I could do multiple hotspots, but it seems like it's not live yet. Makes me sad. Let's see if I can find the reason why they're blue and the other ones are orange. So usually when you put the map options and put the resolution on 8, and then let's put up a higher one as well, and then take a really big one. So if we take a look at these bigger ones, then you see a super high concentration here, very little here. So that's probably why these are getting punished as well, because there's an imbalance between these. So if the density would increase in all of these areas, then the reward scale will change as well. So this one is super dense, this one is not so dense, and I think this one is probably balancing out the entire region, and I think that's why they get a better result. That's the only thing I can think of, because I can't add a resolution 5. So maybe there is like another hexagon being created here on a higher level, and then you have a super high concentration here and then a lower concentration here. That's the only reason I can think of why this is green. There must be a level 5 hexagon that shows a very high concentration here and a lower concentration here. That's the only thing I can think of. From 4 to 5 HNT a day to 1. Okay, 1 is really little. So normally the validator updates, they should add stability to your income. So the rewards will definitely not go up, because we're losing more or less 6% in the long run. But in return, there should be stability in the releasing of the rewards. So we shouldn't have those big swings anymore. So we'll see how that goes. So Project Earth, my very personal, unprofessional opinion on the halving is, in the very short run, like August, I think it will have little or no impact on the price of HNT. So if there is a price increase, then first of all it will be due to I think, yeah, if there's good news coming out, then it will simply be due to the good news that's going up, and not necessarily due to the halving. Usually the effect of halvings, it takes some time to get the effect. The only thing I can think of right now, the insane network growth has already been calculated in, because we have already had the news that more than 200 hotspots are being added to the network, which means the value of the network is definitely increasing. I mean, if you look at the map and you go back only 4 months, so many cities are suddenly getting good coverage, like here in Bucharest. So that is really good news, and a lot more hotspots will be added. But this good news that the network is growing so fast is already calculated into the price. So we'll need some more good news to keep that hype going, and simply having the halving by itself will not change anything towards the price in the short term. We can only assume, looking at Bitcoin, that a halving has a cycle effect. This of course would be the first halving, so we have to see if it has the same effect on the price of HNT. I think that's why I think it will take a while before we see the effects of a halving. And I think the most important reason why a halving would have a positive effect on the price is when the demand for the token remains the same or goes up. It is that simple. If I need, I'm just saying something really stupid, if I need one bread each day to survive, and this demand stays the same because I need one full bread to survive, we can assume this stays the same, even if the supply gets cut in half. So I will be willing to pay more in order to survive. However, if the demand goes down, and for example, if I can survive with half a bread, then it doesn't matter if we do a halving, and then the price will stay the same. Maybe that was a really bad example, but I hope you get my point. So the only way we can really increase the need for helium is either more people get interested in the project, just in general from a speculative perspective, so from an investor perspective, let's say it that way. If more investors are interested in getting into the helium project and they're willing to buy the helium token, and only and there are less tokens in the market, first of all, we have the validators. So there are a lot of HNT tokens being locked up. Already 16 million right now are being locked up in validators. It will take 5 months if you want to get them out. We can assume that people put them in or in it for the long run, so they will stay in there for a month, and the amount of validators will continue to grow. So that is good. It puts price pressure on the token. If we then get good news on the project and more visibility, that means there will be an increased investor demand. Combine that with tokens being locked up. That is of course interesting. That puts price pressure on it. And if you then have a halving, then of course this will have a positive price pressure, and the price should go up. Now, if we want to look in the long run, then I would say we really need people to start using the network. Of course, the first step is providing coverage. If you buy a cell phone, you want to have a network. You want to be able to do a call. You want to be able to receive calls. If there is no antenna near you, if there is no antenna in your country, then why the hell would you buy a cell phone, and why the hell would you have a subscription? It's not going to happen. So this is the same with the Helium network. We as miners, we are building the network reach and the availability for the network. So as soon as we have good coverage in different regions, the next step is to get people to use the network. And then it gets really interesting, because then you have, first of all, people are locking up the HNT, and we have a little DeFi effect going on, because you have those yearly returns that right now are still looking really healthy. So there might be people who are interested in those returns, and that's why they will lock up the HNT. Then you have a bunch of people who just want to support the network, and they will lock up HNT. Then if the network keeps growing, you will have increased investor interest. They will simply buy the token, which means there are less tokens available. Then we have the halving. So if we have increased interest and less tokens in the market, the price has to go up. And if we then have more usage, because all the users will have to buy HNT tokens as well to use the network, then we have a third leg for demand in the HNT network. So if all these things are moving positively and work together, then that should have a good impact on the price. And then the halving is definitely a positive thing. Okay, thanks, Mr. L. And then I know it was a really long answer, Project Earth, but I hope it makes sense. Christy, so last question. If you have an area just outside Bucharest, I set up one of the miners there. Would it be profitable to put 1, 2, 3 around? Yes, definitely. It's not a dumb question at all. So the most important thing when entering the Helium network is being able to reach somebody else. If you have a solo miner, you have to be happy to, for example, get 1 HNT reward per month, which would suck. And as soon as you're able to connect to others, then those HNT rewards will go up significantly. Then it's more like 1 HNT per day. Of course, if you're watching this video afterwards and we are in September or October, these numbers might of course be different because then we had a halving. But it stays the same, that the more hotspots you can reach, the more interesting it is. So if you have one hotspot outside of Bucharest and you're not able to reach any of the other hotspots, then I'm gonna be honest, it will not be very interesting to have that hotspot running. Thankfully, it is super low powered, so the cost of running it is very low. And even with those low rewards, you will earn back the electricity cost. But as soon as you can reach some other hotspots that don't have to be your own, then it becomes interesting. So if you set up one hotspot and then, for example, you can put another one with a neighbor, keep in mind it has to be 300 meters apart, and you can set up 1, 2, 3 other hotspots and you can reach all of them, then you'll get good rewards. The average range is, so rural, honestly, if you put it on the roof and there are no high trees, there is no mountain or a bunch of buildings in between, then you can do a few kilometers with an 8 dBi antenna for sure. I've seen some interesting situations in Belgium. Especially, I think somebody was able, I'm not able to visually confirm it, but have seen people put them on like a tall building in a bigger city. And I don't know what antenna they're using, but those hotspots on a tall building, they're able to reach 50 kilometers. So that is huge. Saf, thank you for tuning in. So the easy question is, you need internet. So you don't need Wi-Fi. If you have a cable, that's fine as well, as long as the hotspot gets internet, because basically you are sending an IoT signal. It arrives in your hotspot, and then the hotspot will try to send it to the blockchain. Now, to send it to the blockchain, you have to be connected to the internet. That's why you need internet. Hey, Martinez. Yeah, Christy, so yeah, that's exactly what is possible. I don't want to be the one saying, hey, you will reach 30 kilometers, but it is definitely possible. I've seen it. Even in my region, it is not a big city, but it is a city. And then I think one antenna on a medium height was able to reach, I think, because yeah, one of those other hotspots in a bigger city, I think it's on a really tall building, because it was able to reach like 40-50 kilometers away, and then another one is reaching 20 kilometers away. So of course it is important that both hotspots are on a very easy to reach location, and I think if you put it on a roof of a tall building and you have line of sight, so there's nothing in between, you can easily go 40-50 kilometers with a good antenna. But then there can't be anything in between. Which one is the best device to use? Right now, it's not really a concern of which device is better than the other. It is more important that you're able to get a miner. So, Saf, you send out a signal, and if you have one, let's say you put your hotspot on the roof outside, and then there is like another hotspot only 400 meters away from you, but the guy puts it in the basement, Then of course your signal, even though you have an awesome location, your signal will not be able to go through the ground and reach that hotspot that the guy put in the basement. So if all the other hotspots around you are on terrible locations, then it is possible that you're not able to reach them. So it is important that everybody puts their hotspot on a good location. That's what I mean with both hotspots. Yeah, so Christy, right now the update isn't there yet, but if you're in a new area, right now with hotspot.f you can only simulate one, and it will calculate everything around it. But they will add the possibility to, for example, add 4 hotspots on locations that you're planning to do, and then simulate what that result will be. Mr. L, thanks for sharing and confirming. Okay, so Christy, I would put your hotspots, first of all, make sure you can put them in locations with people that you can trust. If there ever is an issue, then you will probably have to go there and fix it. So don't put them all around the country, because that might be difficult to really go over and fix something. Then other than that, there is no real benefit in making sure that your hotspots connect to your hotspots. It's not important at all. So if you can put them in different locations and get better results, meaning you're able to reach more other hotspots, which should result in more rewards, up to a certain level, of course. If it's too crowded, then it might not be as interesting. So I would just choose the best locations that you can find and put hotspots there, rather than trying to put them in one specific area and own that area. Usually people just start building in a specific area because they know people there, and it's easier than trying to contact people all around the country. I hope that answers the question a little bit. Hi Derek. So when a hotspot received some packets, it puts it on the blockchain, not the data, correct? Very good question. So what I understand is that you can make a device that works on the Helium network, and then you pay for sending a package. So normally the IoT device, it will send, of course encrypted, it will send the package to the hotspot, and because the hotspot still has to send it to the server, or yeah, to the person who is using it, to the company who is using it, to the application who is using it. So it will send the package over the internet to the server of that application. But it will be encrypted, of course. And when it comes to the data itself, I think indeed they will just put the transactions on there. And I think for security reasons, they will not put the contents of the data on the blockchain. As far as I know, with most blockchains, they especially when it comes to security issues and privacy issues, usually they just put a hash on the blockchain that you need to decrypt the message. And since we are talking about business data, I assume, but that's a really good question. I have to write it down. I will ask it. I will ask Helium this specific question. But if I would have to solve this issue, and it's important that all the data is secure, then that's the way it's being done on the blockchain. You just put a hash on there that you need to decrypt the message that you received. So, but yeah, so Derek, I'm 99% sure, but I will ask the question. I'll write it down to get it confirmed. But yes, very good question. Hold on. All right. All right, Christy, thanks for watching. See you next time. Yeah, I think the hotspot Q&A would have been a better idea. And thanks, man. Mr. L. 2 questions in one. If I use a 4G modem and for some reason it loses network or power, it goes down for a few days, minutes. So what happens is we have a block, I forgot how many, let's just, for example, say every 15 minutes. But I think Helium is quicker. But for the sake of example, let's say 15 minutes, and you lose connection for half an hour, then you miss 2 blocks and you'll have to catch up syncing those 2 blocks. That's basically what is happening. So as soon as you lose connection to the network, you are no longer able to sync to the blockchain, and you will just start adding up missed blocks that you'll have to catch up on. That's all that is happening. And the 4G modem, it should work. I've used it on 2 locations. On one location it is not working well. I still have to figure out why. I can't imagine it's a problem with the 4G modem. I think it's another issue over there, so I hope to figure it out soon. Because the same 4G modem works perfectly on another location. So, hey Thibaut, thanks for watching. Well, I had several people able to connect the voice without the face, so apparently I have a voice that is recognizable. But yeah, you know the face. Cool, Martinez. Where you have everything set up, or where you have your 1 miner set up, and when do you expect to receive your 3rd one? So everybody who's tuning in right now, please share, if you want, of course, where you are from, and no problem, man. Thanks for watching. So please share where you're from, and if you already have a Helium miner, or if you're thinking of buying one. And of course, anyone who has questions about Helium validators, now is the time. I am still thinking of setting up a community node myself. My main concern, of course, is running the server is a big responsibility, and that there are no real pooling functions built into the blockchain. So I would have to ask you to send me your HNT into one shared wallet, and then I would be responsible for the entire wallet, and I don't know how comfortable I am with that responsibility. But on the other hand, I do want to look into how we can build a really flexible solution when it comes to pooling, because I do think it's important that people also get access to the HNT rewards without putting down 10k HNT. So Derek asks, what are your thoughts on the supply of validators? What exactly do you mean with the supply of validators? So right now it's insane how many validators have been added to the network. So right now, only in less than 2 weeks, I think we have hit 1,646 validators, which is impressive. I never thought it would be that many. I also said, at what point will people not want to stake them? So I think we are in a very interesting situation right now. So people who have 10k HNT, it's a lot of money right now. So it's really interesting to see that so many people are willing to stake so much. And I think if the barrier to entry stays so low and those pooling solutions, they don't screw up, then I think people will continue to lock up their HNT if the returns stay above, I think, above 10%. I mean, right now is really hard to find an investment that will give you a better return than the inflation rate, because everybody knows the inflation rate is going to go up in the upcoming years. It will be, somebody has to pay for all the extra cash that we put in the economy. So the inflation will be high. So I think any investment that feels more or less safe and that gives you more than 10% will be attractive. And I think people that enter the Helium space and that believe in Helium will have no issue in locking up some HNT, especially if you have good returns, and especially if there are coming pooling solutions in that allow you to do more flexible staking. Of course, this is something that hasn't arrived yet, but I think if that arrives, then yeah, I think people will continue to stake purely for the returns. If the returns, of course, drop below 5%, then I think the amount of validators will drop as well, because then the people who are in it for the rewards will probably drop out and invest it somewhere else, and then the people who really want to support the network, they will stay. Okay, next question. What are the demand drivers for validators in your opinion? So to sum it up, first of all, right now you have a lot of opportunists, I think, because in the beginning the HNT staking rewards are high. Second of all, you have people who believe in the network and they don't mind staking HNT. Then you in general have a long-term investor, so again, people who believe in the network from an investor standpoint, and if they're planning to hold on to it for a longer period of time anyway, then it makes sense to stake the HNT tokens. And then of course you have people who believe in the network on a structural level and they simply want to support the network. Of course, for 10k HNT you have to be a really big fan if that is your only motivator. So I think those are the drivers for sure. So Norman answered the question of Mr. L also. Then Derek, the goal of 100 and the actual 51 plus is a huge delta. Yes. Is the shortage of supply of hotspots driving the huge supply of validators? That is a very interesting point. On the other hand, usually the people who have a lot of HNT are people who have been mining for quite some time. So I don't think... I think the only way to answer that question is if we would be able to find out how many people have joined those pooling solutions. So if the majority of people staking right now are people who are joining those pooled validators and they're only staking 100 HNT, 200 HNT and so forth, then it is possible that people just bought HNT simply to get those validator rewards. And in that case, you could argue that people were not willing to wait for a miner, and they do want to contribute or participate in the Helium network by investing or supporting the Helium validators. And in that sense, you could say that the lack of availability is driving the number of validators. But this is something that we can't see this on a blockchain, so this cannot be confirmed. Why can't we see this? Well, basically there is no pooling mechanism, so people are sending their HNT tokens in good faith to a specific wallet. So the only thing you can see on the blockchain is the number of wallets that have HNT tokens. We don't know exactly where those HNT tokens came from. So we're missing a big piece of information there. Yes, Norman, I'm really, when you take a look at the price of HNT and you look at all the dips in the past 2 months, I am really happy to see how strong. Of course, there are huge swings. We had a high of $20 and then we dropped to 10, but still for an altcoin, HNT is holding up really well. And each time we had a dip, it bounces really fast. So that is definitely interesting to see that there is so much faith in the token and the project. Then I personally am watching the DC burn rate because ultimately that is the indicator of the demand on the network's utility. Yes, Derek, I completely agree. Of course, there's a chicken and the egg situation here. I love the example of a cell phone network. If you don't have a cell phone antenna in your area, you will not buy a phone, and you will definitely not buy a cell phone subscription because you can't call anyone and you can't be called by anyone. So that is why I completely understand that the focus of all of the rewards right now is on building the network. So as soon as we have really good network coverage, the systematic and hopefully the exponential increase of usage of DC will be a very, very important metric to keep an eye on. Right now, I think the network growth and the coverage growth is more important, but I think next year there should be a shift. Ugh, Martinez, that sucks, man. But do you have to pay your taxes every month? Don't you have to do it on an annual basis? Because in that case, it's better to mine for a whole year, and hopefully, okay, maybe that's not better, but yeah, if you want to play it safe, I can see that you want to cut out 35%, lock it up, so you can pay your taxes. But yeah, that sucks, man. I think I missed the moment that you picked up on. So you're saying that's curious because on the other end of that, I talked to Bison Trails and they had a minimum of 10 validators. Who gave them that minimum? Or they simply said, we're not interested in supporting Helium Validators if we don't get a minimum of 10. Maybe that was their point of view. Because I can imagine that bigger players have bought up HNT tokens and supported the price in that way in the past weeks. But that is a play that smaller consumers cannot do. So on one hand, you might have people who are focused on running nodes on different projects, and I can agree that they probably bought up tokens to run their node. And then on the other hand, you have people who have been mining for quite some time, so they have been stacking up and not selling their HNT. Yes, there are a few pools that allow you to stake 1 HNT, which is of course the lowest. Then you have a bunch of pools that allow 100 HNT, and then you have pooling services that just say, hey, we are willing to do the technical part and run your node, which means that you still have to come up with 10k. Those are the full node services. So it depends on the company. Some companies there don't want to be messing around with all the administration, because if I say that I allow you to stake 10 HNT, that means that worst case scenario, I have 1,000 customers that I have to pay out every month and manage, which could be expensive, rather than having just one person saying, hey, I will do the technical part of running a validator node server, and you just send over the 10k HNT and we'll get that done. So it's possible that Bison Trail said, we don't want to mess around with 1,000 different customers. You have to stake 10k HNT with us and then we'll run your node. Okay, I'll keep, if anyone has any more questions, we're reaching close to the hour on this live stream. If you have any questions, anything to say, do not hesitate, now is the time. I know the focus was mainly on validators, but apparently next time we might do one specifically on Helium miners. If you're seeing this video after it went live, you can still send me an email. You'll find the email in the about section of my channel. Forgotten to ask this. If you are not following yet, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy this live stream, make sure to hit that like button. Right, Derek, thank you for all the questions. They were definitely interesting, and I'm sure that people are watching that got some really good information thanks to your questions. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next next live stream as well. Hey, Chris. Yes, so Chris, I think we have to be honest. Right now in a really good situation, so mining even in Europe for Bitcoin, etc. is profitable. And we are happy if we can run a nice hash miner with a 3070, which now costs 700 euros up to 1,000 euros depending on when you bought it. Then you have to buy the motherboard and everything else. So that's a $1,500 PC. And you're getting $3 or 3 to 5 euros per day. And that is a good return because you're able to pay the electric bill and still make some money. I've seen different projects with different types of mining. And usually when you invest a few hundred euros, you get a return of 2-3 euros a day. So in that sense, when it comes to mining, the past few months on the Helium network have been exceptional because you were able to earn back your miner within the month. And I don't think any mining project has these kinds of returns. So we knew those were unsustainable. It was just exceptional because the price went up really fast and the amount of miners coming to the network was limited. Because of course everybody had to be able to manufacture those new miners, so it takes a while. So there was a gap between a huge increase in price and the number of miners mining the monthly tokens. So I understand if you're hoping to earn your miner back in 2 or 3 weeks, that you might be disappointed in 2 or 3 months. But let's just be honest. If we are able to earn back our miner, which means 100% return, within a year, those are still very good returns. So I do think there is still a long way to go when it comes to rewards. To have a return on investment that is so bad that it's no longer interesting. So that was a very long answer, but I hope it answers the question. Also, we have to keep in mind if the network keeps growing and there is more network usage, that will drive up the price. So even if the number of rewards is going down, if the price keeps going up, then it will remain interesting. But we have to be realistic. At some point, if almost all mining solutions on different blockchains end up on average giving you a return of $3 to $4 per day, then probably Helium will also trend towards such numbers. And let's just assume then that the network becomes more popular and we're able to create cheaper devices, let's say $250 for example for a device, and you're earning $4 a day, and it is very low power, so we can ignore the power, then in 2 months you still have a good return. So I think there is really a lot of space before it gets uninteresting, so I'm not really worried about that. Good. If there's anyone else out there with a question, now is the time. Otherwise, I'm going to shut down the stream and get something to eat. And again, if you're still awake and listening, hit that like button. That always helps. All right. Then I'm going to thank everyone for watching. It took a while to get started, but then I got some really interesting questions, which is always fun, of course. If you're watching this stream after it went live, don't hesitate to post a comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And again, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in a next video or live stream. Bye.